Hi, I'm Paul and I work for Lonely Planet.
Hi, my name is Ali and I'm a guidebook editor at Lonely Planet.
Hi, I'm Gordon. I work for Lonely Planet in product management.
My name is Simon Richmond and I'm an author at Lonely Planet.
I didn't fit in school at all. Growing up, I was just sort of different in every way apparently that you could be.
Growing up, I didn't know quite why I was different.
I grew up small country town, big Catholic family, went to a Catholic school, went to a Catholic college at uni, and I guess a lot of the conversations that you hear about gay people, when people, are just chit-chatting away, it's not always positive.
I was a big tomboy. I liked computers and science and comics and building models and all the things that little boys were supposed to do and not the things that little girls were supposed to do.
I think for me what was really hard about high school and growing up was that I wasn't able to be myself.
Kids of that age, particularly at an all-boys boarding school, they're not exactly accepting of difference.
Summer camp I went to, I was like the most teased girl in the camp.
Had a guy next door to me who had a knife in his locker and would call me a fag every day that I actually arrived at school, and that he was going to cut me and do all this sort of stuff.
High school to me was about fear, and it was about hiding, and just sort of trying to avoid everybody.
I didn't want to go to school anymore, I was too frightened. I'd lock myself in my room, I'd lock myself in the car, I'd make up all sorts of excuses in terms of illnesses and all sorts of stuff just to not go.
And to protect myself from what I saw them doing to other people and how they treated and bullied and teased and intimidated other people, and I think I deliberately behaved a certain way so I wasn't subjected to that.
I would often be chased home by gangs of boys and teased constantly, bits of paper thrown in the back of my head. I was bashed maybe 3 or 4 times on the way home from school.
The fear of letting my true self out, and that was, despite having a really good childhood and and lots of family and friend support, that was really tough to deal with, was not being able to be yourself.
I was pretty miserable actually, growing up, elementary and high school. I remember, many times wishing I could kill myself. I couldn't because I was an only child, and I just, knew I couldn't do it to my parents, and I was, too scared to even try, but I still was just really unhappy.
Because I did keep it to myself because I didn't want to explain why I was being bullied.
The teacher at the time had actually said, look, we don't accept homosexuality and we don't reject homosexuality, we just don't believe it exists. And to be a 15-year-old boy sitting in a room and being told by one of his peers that he didn't exist was pretty profound.
And there was a lot of worry and concern for me about how my family and how my friends would deal with it.
Growing up, I have a very conservative family, and my parents still don't accept my sexuality. I was in a relationship with a woman for 5 years, and during that time I came out to my parents and my brother and sister, and my brother and sister were really loving and accepting, but it was really sad for myself and my partner that my parents weren't comfortable.
Find even just one, or 2 friendly people to help you through that phase, then actually it gets a whole lot better after that.
I was about 19 and I was living in the UK, and I phoned my mum drunkenly one night and said, I've got something really important to tell you, and she just simply said, is it about that boy in Wolverhampton? And I said, yes. She must have read through the lines of my letters, and she was like, oh, well, that's fine. Do you want me to tell your father? And I was like, okay. And she said, okay, bye. And that was that. And then my dad rang me that night and was like, don't worry about it. You're my son. I love you. It's all cool. And that sort of blew me away. And my relationship with my dad has, ever since that day, has been so much stronger, and I've got a really good connection with him.
I didn't even identify myself as gay. If anything, I thought I would like to be like James Bond. Looking back on it, I think maybe I actually really just wanted to sleep with James Bond. I mean, Sean Connery is pretty hot.
I realised quick smart there were places that actually fostered people being individuals, and where it was okay to be different, where it was okay to be yourself, it was okay to have an opinion, and it was actually okay to be attracted to boys.
I guess over time, you know, the more people that you have around you that you can talk to that have had similar experiences, the more kind of, you know, gay and lesbian, bisexual media that you read or films that you watch, you just realise these are human stories, they're life stories that, you know, many people around us have, and that love isn't some kind of easily identifiable label that you can put yourself into.
Now, I've been quite surprised in my life, really, how different people have reacted. People I've not expected to be quite as supportive and accepting as they were.
And I think the real turning point came for me when I chose to talk to somebody about it. And I found my most trusted friend in the world, who was in LA at the time, and I called him up and I told him and I said, Jay, I think I'm gay. And his reaction was brilliant. He told me how proud he was and how happy he was. And I think the best thing that anybody said to me, and the thing that made me feel better about it, was that he said, Katie, this means you're in control of your life now. You get to lead it the way you want, and you get to decide who you see, when you see them, who you tell, how you tell them. You get to decide everything. Your life's yours. And I just remember feeling like weight of the world lifted off my shoulders.
I think that also improved my relationships with a whole range of people, including my family, who were very accepting and have never sort of questioned me about my sexual orientation. So I've been very fortunate in that respect, and I think I wish I'd actually done it when I was much younger.
Like all these just minor things that make me so excited about getting up in the morning. And I could have missed out on all of that if I had acted on those dark thoughts and gone into those dark places and let myself go there, because I wouldn't have met some amazing people. I wouldn't have done some amazing things. I wouldn't have gone to some amazing places. So all I have to say is, when you're approaching those dark days, know that it gets better.
I think it's important for me that everyone stays around, and it will get better for you, and we need more people to come out there and be in normal businesses and politicians and stuff. We need gay people out there to support us and to keep the changes and fight for gay marriage and fight for equality, and just to make it ordinary so that it's no big deal. That's what I try to do. It's just like, you know, I'm David and I just happen to be gay.
It really does get better.
It's going to be tough, but you'll get through it. And there's a really bright light at the end of the tunnel that it gets better. It doesn't just get better, it gets much better.
And little bit by little bit, you'll find out that, yeah, life gets a hell of a lot better.
It gets better.
Yes, it gets better, a lot better.
It gets better. It really gets better. In fact, it gets awesome if you stick around for it.
That you have